Welcome everyone, this is our MRS21 Fall 2021 final review, and this one's question number 8, our last question on our review sheet. And I hope you guys have been watching and practicing and going back and trying out these techniques and hopefully be helpful for your final, as well as any examples you might see on later tests like, the Regents or SATs. For those of you who would take Regents in our state, if you don't, that's okay. These questions do come about SAT type of things, not exactly these questions, but the techniques involved definitely are helpful. And I would totally appreciate if you might share this video to those who might find it helpful. And of course, like and subscribe really helps out the channel. And of course, leave any questions or comments in the comment section below. All right, everyone. Question number 8. What is the solution set for the square root of x plus 11 plus 1 equals x? All right, so when we solve a question like this, we have our steps involved with solving these radical equations. Our very first step in this case is going to be 1, isolate the radical. So everything in this case, everything that's not attached to the radical, outside the radical, we want to move over to the other side. And that means that plus 1. That goes to the other side. So we're going to subtract 1 on both sides. So we now have the square root of x plus 11 equals x minus 1. Okay. Now for our second step, oops, well, I just pushed it over here. So step number 2. Once you isolate the radical, we're going to raise both sides to the second power. And the reason why we're doing the second power and not a different number is because it's a square root. Okay, it's a square root. If it wasn't a square root, like it was a cube root, I raised to the third power. I would raise this to the index power, the power of the index of the radical. And we don't see 1 is going to be 2. So we're going to raise both sides to the second power. We're going to parenthesis on x minus 1. So now what happens is the square root squared kind of cancels out the radical. And so now we end up with just plain old x plus 11 is equal to parenthesis x minus 1 squared. Okay. And so for step 3, solve the new equation. All right. And so we're going to solve this here. Remember, x minus 1 times x minus 1. If we want to do the little work here, x minus 1 times x minus 1. X times x is x squared. X times negative 1 is negative x. Negative 1 times x is another negative x. And negative 1 times negative 1 is plus 1. So we get x squared minus 2x plus 1. And that's what the right side would be, x squared minus 2x plus 1. While the left side is plain old x plus 11. Another quadratic equation, which again you should expect to know how to do and solve. We're going to subtract x on both sides. Subtract 11. And we get 0 is equal to x squared minus 3x minus 10. So here when we factor, we're going to find two numbers that multiply to negative 10 but add to negative 3. Okay, so what two numbers multiply negative 10 add to negative 3? Well, we know x times x is x squared. Well, I know negative 5 and positive 2 multiply negative 10. And negative 5 plus positive 2 equals negative 3, so those numbers work out fine. We're going to, in this case, solve for each one. X minus 5 equals 0, so x equals 5. X plus 2 equals 0. X equals negative 2. Now, the last part of this problem is that we just can't accept both these equations. Like, oh, the answer is like, well, why can't we? Because we got to do a check. Just like before in the previous problem with the equation that dealt with those rational expressions, meaning in this case the fractions that had variables and denominators, we had to make sure that the answers work out. Don't create a problem for us, right? So in this case, oops. So here, check answers against the original equation, not the one we modified. Original equation. Okay. Now our original equation as you see here, should be the square root of x plus 11, I believe is plus 1. Does that equal to x? That's the original equation now. And I'll move this up so you can see here. Oh, what was the original equation again? Yes, it was this one here. Square root of x plus 11 plus 1 equals x. And so now for our first check. Our first check is going to be for, in this case, when x equals 5. Does the square root of 5 plus 11, I'm just plugging in 5 for x, does the square root of 5 plus 11 plus 1 equal to 5? Well, that's the square root of 16 plus 1, and that's square root of 16 is 4 plus 1 equals 5. Yeah, 5 equals 5. Check. So x equals 5 is a good answer. Now we perform the check for, in this case, x equals -2. All right, so I'm going to move this down a little bit here. We'll put some space here. Oh, I'm sorry, I went a little too far. So square root of -2 plus 11 plus 1. Does that equal to -2? Well, we definitely know -2 plus 11 is 9, so square root of 9 plus 1. Does that equal -2? 1 square root of 9 is 3, so 3 plus 1. Does that equal -2? 4, we see, does not equal -2. That's no good. And if that's no good, our x equals -2 must be rejected. Yeah, unfortunately, sometimes we have what's called extraneous root. Basically means that it does not work out, though. Okay. All right, everybody, that's it. So the check is a super important part of this question too, and you should definitely look forward to seeing a question like this on our exam. All right, everybody, thanks so much for watching. Share, comment. Would love to see you guys do that and all. And of course, even better, like if you have not done so already. If you really found it helpful, definitely give a like and subscribe to the channel. All right, everybody, thanks so much for watching, and I hope that's helpful for your studies. Make sure to practice some previous questions on the homework, and of course, we'll look forward to more work as we continue on the school year. All right, everybody, take care. Be safe.